Okay, today we're going to be doing pie dough. We're going to make an apple pie, but first we're going to start off with a flaky pie dough or just the regular way to do a pie dough. There's two types of pie doughs. There's a flaky and then there's a mealy pie dough. The flaky pie dough you'll use for the tops for pies, or also a pre-baked, blind-baked pie shell that you'll fill in later with filling, or a mealy pie dough, which is for the bottom of kind of fruit pies and everything. So right now we're doing a flaky pie dough slash mealy, kind of in between, because I'm going to use it for the top and bottom of my pie. So right now I have our ingredients here. It's 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 14 tablespoons of shortening butter, butter blend, or a combination of any fat. So the fat that we're using right now is butter blend that was given to you in your kits if you had it. It's a cheaper version. It's half butter, half margarine, but you could use all butter, all shortening. But shortening is a little bit hard to work with, but if you use all butter, you'll have a really good flake. But I'm just using this because it's what I have. We have 1/3 to a 4th, it should be 1/3 to a half a cup of water, teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of sugar. You could cut the sugar out if you're going to use this pie dough for, say, a savory application for quiche, or if you're going to use the pie dough for, the top of a, what is that thing? Chicken pot pie. You could do that as well. But right now I'm putting the sugar in because I'm using this for an apple pie. So first, I'm going to stick my flour. Okay, flour in the bowl. I'll put my salt and sugar. You could also dilute your salt and sugar inside your water. But I tend to forget, so I'll just stick it in here. You're going to add your cut fat. This is butter blend, so I chopped it up into small pieces, and I stuck it in the freezer because this one comes to room temperature, or it softens really quickly. So we don't have to, so you need to work with it really fast. So I'm going to use a pastry blender to cut my fat in it, or you could use the bottom of a bench scraper or the bottom of a bowl scraper. You could use a couple of knives. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the fat in here till it resembles pea size, kind of chunks, because like the biscuits that we did the other week, they will create the flakiness in your pie crust. You want those kind of semi-big butter chunks. But because I'm going to put this in the bottom and top of my pie, I'm going to kind of do them a little bit between, a little bit smaller than pea size. So it's actually coming together right now, so I don't want to work it anymore. See, there's some butter chunks, but don't want it too big. And I know if I work this too much, it's just going to become into a big mess. I have a tendency not to do pie crust really well in my apartment. Okay, so that looks good. See, there's a little bit butter chunks. Okay, now I'm just going to add the cold water. This is super cold water. I am going to measure out, it should be about 1/3 to a half a cup. So I'm going to start off with 1/3 and then work my way up. Because with the butter blend, sometimes you don't have to add too much water. So let's add a little bit. I'm just kind of toss the flour. I'm not going to start mixing it. I'm tossing the flour just to moisten it. See, there's some dry bits. Okay, I'm going to add some more water. Toss it a little bit again. I'm not stirring it. I'm not kneading it like bread. I'm tossing it just like we did the biscuit dough a couple weeks ago. So that was already 1/3. I'm going to add a little bit more just to moisten the edges. Okay, probably will. I don't want to add too much, because if you add too much, it's going to become a tough pie dough. And that's what I don't want. You just want it to just come together. Okay, see, it's coming together. It's a little bit crumbly, but I just learned a trick online just actually a few hours ago that I thought was really cool. I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper. Okay. I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper. or wax paper, whatever you have. You're gonna dump this or sprinkle it. It's coming together a little bit, but see if there's some dry bits. I have some water in a spray bottle. Just gonna spray it just a little bit. Then I'm gonna take this and fold it over and press it. See, it's already coming together. You don't want to work it too much, but just press it. See how it's coming together nicely? I'll press this side up. Okay, and then press this side up. We're actually creating a little bit more flake. So see this little dry stuff on the edge? It's crumbly. Just gonna wet it just a little bit more. Moisten it. See, it's just moistening it enough. But if you don't have a spray bottle, you could just sprinkle it with your hand. Okay, it's actually together a little bit. Okay, looks good so far. It's coming together. It's a little bit dry over here. I'll wet that a little bit. Okay. Ooh. The other side is a little bit dry. I will get my bowl scraper. It just needs a little bit more moisture, okay? Don't want to wet it too much. I think that's good so far. So from here, I'm gonna make a few small pies from this. So I'm gonna divide this actually maybe into 4. I'm gonna make a couple of small pies and the top. So I'm gonna make two pies, and then I'm gonna make maybe a crumble topped pie. So I'm gonna take these, wrap them up in some plastic wrap. See, they look a little shaggy. That is okay, because when we roll it out, it'll come together. Take these. I'm gonna take these and then flatten it to a disc. And then I'm gonna stick these, because it's butter blend, I'm gonna stick this in the freezer just so it firms up. If you're using butter, you could put this in the refrigerator about 30 minutes to rest the gluten. So I'm gonna make very small pies. But if you're doing a big 9-inch pie, you're just gonna put them together like this. Maybe I'll show you that one. Then I'll hopefully split it up. Okay. If you don't have the spray bottle, you could just sprinkle it with your fingers. My other video that I put online is the same way. It's that way, where I sprinkle the water to have it come together. Okay, so we'll come back in 30 minutes after these have chilled in the freezer.